How many times have you sat behind your drum set and thought about your elbow? Probably not often. Now, we've been talking about the ulnar nerve that travels from the shoulder into the elbow, into the wrist, the thumb, and the fingers. But what we have not spoken about, and what I'm sure none of your drum teachers have talked about, is the junction point here, where the nerve is in your elbow. This is one of the areas that we get a massive amount of problems. Now, if you compress the nerve here, pinch the nerve, flare up the nerve in your elbow, in your shoulder, or your wrist, you're going to get pain in your arm. It's going to go into your hands. This is part of the problem. It does not only happen in the wrist. Believe it or not, the elbow is one of the main places it happens. Now let's think about drummers. You play rock music. You play hard rock music. You've got your cymbals up high. We're out there jamming at night. You're playing, and you're just out there. Boom, 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 boom. Look at the motion. And I'm sure many of you are not doing more of a fluid motion, letting that recoil come back in. You're probably bang and coming back off. That abrupt motion on your elbow is going to cause the tendons and the muscles to flare up, get overworked, overextended. You're going to damage your elbow. You're going to hurt that nerve. So we've got to be really careful. We also have to think about the placement of our arm behind the drum set. So if I'm sitting there and I have my sticks and I'm on the hi-hat and I'm playing in the hybrid or French grip and I'm using my fingers, my elbow should not be out here. I should not be supporting my arm like this when I'm using finger techniques. You're causing too much of an angle, almost a 90-degree angle, as you're trying to operate muscles and small fine tendons and detail in your finger. Plus you're putting too much of a sharp curve on your elbow when you're playing with your fingers. So if you bring it down, you're in a much better position naturally to use the finger technique on your hi-hat. If you're playing in German, I see some drummers with their arm out here. Now it works. They get on top of it and it's okay. You know, you're going to have to really concern yourself and build up a good muscle foundation in your shoulders to support that. But again, you're getting that weird angle and you're getting your arm. Does this really look like a good functioning way? Does this look like a nice, harmonious, fluid motion? No. So again, let's relax the elbow down, and there's your German grip. And we still have a slight curvature in the wrist. Now I mentioned, we're going to sometimes teeter-totter off and get that exterior curvature, but from this position, you can lift your elbow just a little bit, all right? And you still got it. The 2 fulcrum, or if you want to play with the 4-finger fulcrum or just the middle finger, all right? Relax your elbow. And the same thing with your snare hand. When you're playing your snare, you should just be basically using your wrist or your fingers. You don't even really need to do this motion. This motion coming down on your snare drum is just so over excessive. You know, I can get the same motion like that you can get like this. Now, back to the cymbals. This is really key stuff. When you're playing your cymbals, try not to come down hard on your set in that straight, static, choppy motion, you know, because you're going to hit it and you're going to come back and recoil off. You're taking all of that shock in your elbow. Try and give it a more fluid motion with your wrist coming off your cymbals. So you're just moving nicely like this, okay? That type of a motion. You really want to get that nice and fluid. We have a digital pack coming up, moving around the kit, that deals with fluid motion around the kit. But for now, just be aware of what you're doing with your elbow, how you're using it, and take care of that joint. Relax your arms down when you're in that good posture. Keep your elbows down. If you got your cymbals all the way up here, bring them down a little bit. Honestly, it's ridiculous. You know, nobody needs to hit cymbals like this, where it's just so ridiculous. And this also does happen when your cymbals are low. I'm not, you know, just picking on anybody. You know, it's the same thing. You know, it doesn't matter where your cymbals are. Now look at that motion I made. Not only are you gonna put that compression there, but you're also doing that with your wrist again. So we've really got to be aware of how we're moving around the set, what way we're hitting our cymbals. So elbow joint, the ulnar nerve in the elbow, really be careful of it, okay? Thank you.